Very pleased to welcome Mr. DJ Patil to close our event here. So thank you for coming, and sorry for the directions issue there.
No, thanks. Awesome. Boy, you guys kick ass. So, you know, it's I don't have to talk about the mission statement now because there it is. But you know, here's what I don't know if everyone knows: the story of DataKind and how it really kind of got going. And Jake's not here, so I can pretty much say whatever I want, and no one's going to question it because he's on vacation, I think, this week. But you know, there's this interesting question at the time when Drew Conway and Jake were starting to think about the ideas, and we had a meeting at Strata, New York. I think it might have been the second Strata conference where we were trying to figure out, like, what is this data thing going, and there was this real kind of argument of, wow, you know, we're figuring out that data is this incredible force multiplier in companies. And when I say force multiplier, I mean taking a valuation of the company, whether it's in the private markets or the public markets, by 10x, literally by 10x, and how to use data more effectively, creatively, and doing really powerful things with it. And say, well, if that's true, why aren't we doing this for the betterment of society? Like more directly, we have all these amazing institutions, and you just heard from so many of them. That's that genesis of, like, wow, this can happen. And the really amazing thing is it's not any individual that has made this happen, but through the lens of data scientists like all of you that have come together as a community to make this happen. You guys are the ones that have really inspired and driven that mission. And I don't know if it's always obvious to people who aren't inside the federal government like I was, but now I'm being in there, and people like Erie, who's back there, who has really been one of these type of people who have been the cornerstone in these efforts of fundamentally unlocking the data and allowing people to do novel things with data for innovation. A lot of that genesis really starts as a community activist, like activating. That shows how a day it has been. Activating, exactly. Activating the community, really galvanizing it around these efforts, and then showing what can happen. Because the expertise otherwise is really hard to put it together. It's hard oftentimes to innovate from within, and bringing people like yourselves to attack one of these problems really fundamentally changes the game. And so I just want to say thank you to everyone here for doing these type of things, because you guys are literally the heart and soul of the data movement. I think very often we think of it, oh, it's these guys in the, you know, it's the companies and the classic crew that's been in Silicon Valley and sort of gotten a lot of the buzz. But it's actually the broad data science community coming together to solve problems is really where I believe the heart and soul has been and will continue to be. That's particularly important for a few reasons. You know, there's been a lot of talk around what are we as a data community. One of those, as we've seen, has been in the big data or the big data report, the follow-on for the big data report, some of which people refer to as the Podesta report, as well as the FTC report on data brokers. And when we start to think about what is true north, like what does it mean to responsibly unlock data? And how do you return that for the betterment of America? Well, it's not just America. It's for the whole world, because data doesn't have borders this way. When we do something, it shows others what can be the possibility. The open data efforts that happen here are directly contributing to saving lives in Nepal. That true north is driven by working on problems like these, like being socially good, being responsible, thinking about what is it and how do we think about data ethics and all of these other aspects. And that's what then is going to go back in to help form the policy, so we provide that guidelines for the broader movement and all the other things that where we need to drive data to into the place where it can have the benefits that we believe, and now all of us know it can. in building data in the data of these products, I've been fortunate to have the opportunity to write a little bit about these things in data jiu-jitsu and basically all the lessons I learned the hard way. But a few things as you guys are building the data over the next few days. The first is really remember that data science is a team sport and really figure out how you guys are working together as a team. And don't be afraid to change your team if it's sucking. Right? I mean, it's about iteration. We always talk about agile. You need to be agile in your development. Like product's not working, things not working, change. Be afraid to change gears. Why? Why do that? It sounds like, oh, that feels a little awkward to do. No, it's actually better because what you're doing is you're striving for an end goal to solve problems. And there's time on the clock. So don't be afraid to be very rigorous about it. No, I think we got the wrong set of people. What about this? And opt yourselves in, opt yourselves out. Figure out what's right. Second is really think about this as what is the product at the end of this. Could be opening it up, could be cleaning it, all those things. But really, please think about it from a product instantiation. What's the end product? Because a lot of times it's really awesome and it's really great to play with the data. But think about what that outcome is going to be. And the outcome could be an image. That's totally okay. If it's an image or it's a graph, just remember the 3 rules. That what do you want me to, what are you trying to tell me? Like what should I be hearing by looking at this image? What should I take away? 2, what action do you want me to take? If we post this, do you want me to tweet it? Do you want me to see a picture of it? Like what, should I call somebody? What do you want me to, what action do you really want me to do right away? And the third, which we often leave out, but the data science community has really gotten great at putting back in, how do you want me to feel? Should I feel inspired? Should I feel angry? Should I be happy? Should I be thrilled? Let's put the emotion to it. Let's make it about the human component of it. Let's put the energy back into these things. Why is that so critical? Because it's about the narrative. It's about the storytelling. It's about all the things that this comes together. Because we're not going to solve the whole problem today. But what it is about aligning all the effort behind the efforts that are starting to take place today. You can take a massive leap forward and then it shows everybody like, oh, that's the path. So literally think of it as mass times velocity, momentum. And we're, of course, it's nerd pride, right? Velocity is a vector, right? Velocity is not a scalar. So you've got 3 things to work with there. So you've got your angle, the direction you're pointed, and you've got the magnitude. You've got mass. So right now we've got the beginning of mass because you guys are going to come together as teams, do some work, and you're going to put some mass behind it. You can really change the magnitude of impact by the work that you accomplish, by figuring out the right team, figuring out the scope, really attacking the problem, doing kind of really the clever things, and then figure out the angle. Because once you show that angle, it's going to open up the space for what can happen. And then figure out how to share it. A lot of times in these events, you do such phenomenal work, and then it doesn't get shared. Share it out there. Let's make it scalable. Get it out there, communicate with each other, and then stay in touch with each other. I know you guys are already doing a great job in this, but stay in touch together. The community is what happens. The early days when before we were even calling ourselves data scientists, we didn't even know we had all the different titles. We used to get together pretty regularly, like once every few weeks, and have basically dinners at different people's houses, just go to a bar, and just share information. People used to think like, whoa, Facebook and LinkedIn are sharing things about data. Like, we had very early access and understood about how they were thinking about Cassandra. They knew how we were thinking about title and job disambiguation and all those other different problems. Why? Why do that? Why would we collaborate? Because it's more water in the harbor floats all boats. Data, like we fundamentally believe it is that type of team sport. So if they're working on Cassandra, we're going to need to do it. If you're working on a security solution with data because you know you're getting attacked from a cyber aspect, if it's not you today, it's tomorrow, right? So how do you stay in contact to share what's working with one team? Oh wow, that technology didn't work for you guys. Oh, wonder why it didn't work for you guys. Well, you guys were trying to do much more. Your table structures look different. oh, okay, well, if table structures look different, here's how we solve that problem. Or, oh, maybe we need to talk to the vendor, or all the different things, the open source community. It's how Hadoop Summit came together. It's how Hadoop came together. That's how Spark came together. It's how Kafka came together. Voldemort, Cassandra, Azkaban, Storm. All these things are community efforts. And so that genesis are you guys. Not just here, but when you walk out of here, you retain those connections of working with each other. That's what's going to carry the DC community and all the work that you guys do fundamentally to impact all these great causes. That's what's going to lift up and carry these organizations up and carry it forward. The final thing, which I'll emphasize as you're going to the hackathon, remember, clever beats smart 9 times out of 10. Be clever here. There's amazing time to throw crazy, crazy cool solutions at it. Kudos if you've got the skills to do it, but optimize for clever. Why optimize for clever? You're going for iteration speed to solve problems, and you're trying to get the maximum momentum, mass times velocity. Cover the greatest amount of distance, get the most things that you can done. Once you start to figure it out, and now we have to scale it, then bring the smart into it. The smart is going to figure out how to scale. But before we do that, let's figure out how you're going to really optimize the problem. And the classic ways of doing this, most of the time, the really cool productization of these things have come about because people have been clever in their approach to these things rather than trying to throw really heavyweight solutions at it right away. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't try it or test it or those things, but just keep in mind how precious time is, and that as a team, how much you can learn from each other by optimizing for that clever aspect and then figuring out how to transition it to smart. I think I'll stop there. If there's any questions, happy to take them and talk through it. I mean, I could talk about this stuff for hours. So Erie knows she's been subjected to it. So there we go. Erie. Erie's question, which is always spot on, is if you want to really save the world. Now, I always feel like it's always a tough mission recruiting for the government because you guys are already doing such phenomenal work in many of these organizations. So let me expand what it is. So on one side, if you're interested in working with us, let's go to whitehouse.gov/USDS, US Digital Service. The team is, I mean, I can't emphasize just how good the team is, what an experience is. You get to work with Erie all day, who gets to keeps you honest and also does amazing things. I mean, literally, for those that know, Erie has literally saved the world several times over. So she is that amazing. But also so payback's tough, Erie. But the other aspect is we would love your help in the best ideas in this town, in the agencies and other places externally, Red Cross, other places, you name it. They come from within the organizations. And by you guys sharing, showing, helping inspire us, you guys are the ones that help literally change how we think about momentum at the government. And so a lot of these ideas, we go, wow, that's the coolest thing ever. Why aren't we doing that? We should do that. Great, let's do it. But that comes from everybody else. So please share those ideas. Please collaborate with us. And if you want, I mean, we'd love to work with you. I mean, it's been 10 years since I've been back in this town. And let me tell you, and I used to live here for 10 years. So I don't recognize anything. I walk out of the bedroom, I'm like, whoa, people want to live in Ballston? Wow. It's brutal. I say that because that was the only place like I could afford back then. Now I look at Ballston price and I'm like, wow, okay, the town has changed. But in all honesty, back then it wasn't like there was no ability for us to come together for things like this and really work on problems that we were all passionate about. There was no forum, like getting a building or getting a spot like this to even hang out, and even getting someone to pay for the beer. Wow. Those things did not happen. Yeah, I know. Serious kudos. So that it is so awesome to see these kind of things happening in a town where I just wish it was there. It's like, why did it take us so long? And so it's thrilling to me, literally thrilling to me, and is so inspiring to know that this is happening here in DC. And DC is not just, it's one of the towns, DC is leading the charge on these efforts. And so I can't ask for more than that. Are there other questions?
I was going to say, to respect our folks in New America, DJ might stick around maybe for another 10.
I'll stick around for a little bit, yeah, and I'll be trying to. I'll try my best to swing through tomorrow. I got a pretty heavy day, but I'll be around. Yeah.
Cheers, DJ.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
So a ceremonial thank you / tourniquet for coming by today. So thank you.
Thanks
a lot.